The following program is brought to you by Element 14, the electronics community where you can connect and collaborate with top engineers from around the world. Join now at element14.com/presents.
Hello and welcome back to Element 14 Presents. I'm Lorraine Underwood, and this week we're building a website that will allow you to be physically in video meetings using a VR headset if you want to, or just a web page. Let me show you how it works.
Amazing hacks. Inspired designs. Each week, Element 14 Presents brings you innovative projects using electronics, engineering, and more.
Here's the problem I'm trying to solve.
Oh yeah, remember that time I punched Rye out and replaced it with LED? That was brilliant. No, not you, Frank. You don't have any eyes. I was talking to Babbage. Oh.
In video calls with multiple people, we just don't know who is looking at who and who is talking to who. So my solution is to create a moving head for every person in the meeting, and you control that head through your own head movements with a VR headset.
Let me sketch out what I mean.
So we have three people who want to have a meeting. There's me, there's Babbage, and there's Frank. I want to be able to see Babbage and Frank, but I want them to see each other as well. So say this is my normal conference table. So I'm going to have Babbage and Frank in the room with movable heads. So there's going to be like a mannequin's head here and here. So Babbage can look at Frank, and then Babbage can look at me as well by moving his head with a VR headset on it. So the idea is that I'll have two Raspberry Pis in the room connected to these pan tilt hats that can move around. They will be hosting web pages, and Babbage connects to his and Frank connects to his. And we'll be able to have a conference call where Frank and Babbage can look at each other and they can look at me. So there's a good few steps to this project. Let's go through them one section at a time. We've got to build the pan tilt hat. This is the actual physical devices that are going to move the heads. Then we're going to set up the web server so that people can access the web page to view the video, download and install the code for the VR-ing, because that's a verb. This you'll see is pretty much the same code. We've got to set up remote access. So we've got to let people into our network from outside. And that's it. We're going to have a meeting. And it's going to be weird.
So we're going to assemble the pan tilt hat. So we're going to put the pan tilt bit on this board that connects to the Raspberry Pi. So there are 4 holes here that these 4 black bolts go onto. So we're going to add the 4 bolts through the pan tilt hat and through the Pi board. And we're just going to speed this up really fast because it's fiddly and I'm awkward. And we get the 4 bolts in through, and then we get the 4 tiny little nuts and start screwing them onto each bolt. This is actually quite satisfying, but again, really fiddly and really slow, so let's speed that up as well. I'm all thumbs when it comes to this kind of stuff. So that's the 4th one on, and that's almost it. This is really simple to assemble. Next we get the 2 servo cables, and we slot them through this hole that says servo. And they just slot through there really easily. This is where I kind of realized that I may have put it on backwards, because when I look at it from the side view, the wire is twisting around, and I think maybe it shouldn't do that. I'll check the diagram in a second. So we connect the servo pins, connections onto these pins underneath. One is servo 1, the other one is servo 2. I don't know which is which, but we can fix that in the code. Before we get started, let's just set up the camera. So we've got interfacing options here, and camera, we'd like it to be enabled. Yes, please. Okay. Let's install the Pimorones pan tilt hat library. Right, we've installed the Pimorone library. Let's go have a look at it.
So we're going to run one of these examples. Let's go for smooth. Smooth. And, oh, smoothie. Smooth, and see what happens. Okay, so these are all the angles that it's moving, and you can see it's got a great range. I want to try and stop it looking at me. Okay, so I'm going to take a selfie just to check that my camera is working. So I'm just going to put it here in this folder here. So let's see. Jeez. It's like an awkward selfie. Okay, that should be long enough. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so the camera's working. My camera skills probably need a bit of work, but we know that the camera's working, and that's all we need to know there. Let's move on to setting up our web server. So something you need to know about mobile phones and accessing their tilt data is that you have to access it securely. So you need a website with a HTTPS web address. You need a SSL certificate. So we're just going to self-certify. We're going to create our own certificate by doing the following steps. So we're going to create an SSH directory first off. And then I'm going to create my own certificate. The certificate's going to last for 3 years. I'm just going to fill in these details. And that creates a certificate. So when we run our code, it will run a HTTPS version of this website. And the website address will be the IP address for this Raspberry Pi. Let's take a closer look at the code then. So main.py is the Python file that's run. This is the web server. Let me just show you the end first. So it's just creating a HTTP server and with an SSL certificate. So there is the 2 certificates that we created earlier, and then it just runs it. But let me show you what the phone connects to. So it runs this page, index.html. So anything that connects to our web address will go to this page. So we've just got a minimum amount of CSS. Got some really important JavaScript libraries that do most of the work. And this is the bit that we're looking at. So we're adding an event listener to the page called device orientation. So it's going to get the device orientation from the device that's connected to this web page and gets 3 numbers, alpha, beta, and gamma. Let me just skip a bit. This is the kind of initialize function. So it creates a scene with a camera, setting up the scene, really setting up the page. Stereo effect is the VR effects. That's 2 windows. When you click on the page, it goes full screen, and that's just drawing the canvas. We need to do a little bit of maths there. And let me show you. Oh, this is really interesting. So we've got 2 times. The last time the camera moved and the last time the image updated. So we're constantly recording these, but for this bit down here. So we get the time, and if the current time is longer than the last image update and a second, so basically it's longer than a second, we get a new image. So what you realize is that this isn't live video. This is just taking a photo every second and loading it onto the web page. And it's redrawing the canvas every time it does that. The same thing for the motion, except it's a bit quicker, so it's only half a second. What we notice here is that if one of the numbers, if alpha is null, then it's not a phone that's connected to the web address, it's a PC, it's a laptop, something that doesn't have an accelerometer in it. So we just tell it to go to this page, which just gives it some arrows to move around. I really should just automatically redirect them, but here we are. So if you are a phone, it calls a get command and it sends the 2 numbers alpha and beta as the pan and the tilt. So we go back to our main.py, our web server, and have a look for that pan. So here we go, handle pan command. If pan is in the path at all, we get pan and we get tilt out. Obviously we can move our heads 360, but the pan tilt can't. So this just stops it from giving the the library the wrong numbers, these if statements. And there it is, that's the Pimoroni code. So pan tilt hat dot pan with the pan from the phone and tilt with the tilt from the phone. So that's how it moves everything. So it gets it from a HTML page to a Python page to the pan tilt hat. And the same with the camera. We've got handle camera, even more simple. It just gets the frame and loads it. Let's have a look at the web page that loads when we try and access this IP address.
Want to build the project in this episode? Want to download the code? Find the parts list? Want to ask a specific question and know this host will answer it? Simply take out your phone and point your camera at this QR code. This will take you right to all the details you need to get started. We'll see you on the Element 14 community.
So the web address is the IP address of the Pi, and it's 12, but remember we need HTTPS. Okay, we'll get a big no because I haven't run the code. Start again, Lorraine. Nothing very exciting happens when you load the main.py. Okay, that's my pop-up, so it's telling me I should go to static monitor/HTML, and you'll see this is the stereo. So we're looking at the ceiling right now. Let's try and look over here. You can see it's basically just duplicated the image. Hi! Let's try that static address it gave us, static monitor HTML. Oh, okay, that's more like it. Here's my window. What's that? Oh, it's the light. Okay, we're up high. So it kind of, let's turn around, see if we can, oh, it's very weird. So the camera is upside down. Right, we can fix that, that's easy. But you'll see these arrows. So I'm gonna press the arrows to move the camera around. So we're gonna move it down a bit, and there I am, like a bat. So this is, if you don't have a VR headset, you can just use these arrows and it works really well. It's not too kind of jumpy, and it just moves like 10 degrees. So you can move around the room, see who's in the room. But obviously I gotta fix the bat thing first. Okay, now let's try it on a VR headset. So for my VR headset, I've got an old Gear VR. It's quite a nice headset, but the software hasn't really kept up. So, but it will do, hopefully it will do for this purpose. I'm gonna put my Samsung S9 in here with the USB-C adapter. Wish me luck. Okay, so this is the Gear kind of landing page. So I seem to be in Iron Man's sitting room. We're gonna try going on to the internet and connecting to our web server. So this is our web server address. Remember, it's HTTPS. And here is our first problem. It thinks that we're a PC. Okay, so it shows us the stereo image. We do have some options here. So we can change it to side by side. So that gives us one image, which is pretty good, but we're not really in VR. We're looking at a screen and the screen is not moving. So I tried changing it to 180, but that is still not moving to us. So I'm gonna try a different, we're gonna get out of here first. I'm gonna try, I'm trapped in VR. Okay. Exit full screen. I'm gonna try a different app. Let's try Samsung Internet and see if that's any better. So that was, I think that was Oculus browser. So here we have Samsung Internet, and I'm gonna go launch my web page. Okay, so it's telling me to sit straight, so I need to sit still because if I don't, it will suddenly jerk. Okay, so, okay. Okay, why is everything so dark? I'm looking
straight ahead at the camera, which is brilliant, but I'm in stereo. Do we have any settings? Oh, what did I press there? Oh, view mode. Okay, so we need side by side. Brilliant. Oh, what's kind of scary is that it's moving as I change the settings. No, 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 stop moving. Where's my settings gone? Go back. Zoom. Zoom. Is that big? Oh, that's pretty good. Right. Hello, camera. Let's see if we can look over at Lorraine. If I go right, I can't see myself. I'm quite high up as well. I can't seem to look down. Let's go left and see the camera again. The camera, and we should see the other wall. But we'll never know. Because again, we're not really in VR here. We're just looking at a screen. Left and right though seems to be working okay. There's a sofa. Hi, sofa. But we look up. Oh, what happened? Where do we go? That's not good. Down. Down's not happy. Left and right though, pretty good. Okay, we're almost ready for the big reveal. We just have the last step to go through. So we're going to set up remote access. I'm not going to do this step by step, but I'll show you the page on my router of how I did it. It's going to be different on your router. So what you're looking for is port forwarding. So in our house, we are a network. So we have devices connected to our network, and they all have unique addresses inside our house. So this is the local address of one of my pan tilt hats. And I want to have a meeting, and I want someone else to access this pan tilt hat and its camera and everything else. So I want my brother-in-law, Austin, who lives just across the road, to access my network. So I'm going to set up port forwarding, and that's going to give me an address, a global address. So it's going to be something like 255, blah, 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 blah. Now, normally we would put 443 to indicate that it's a HTTPS address that we're going to, but that's just kind of like a standard. You don't have to use this number here. You can use any number. You can use 3694 if you want to. That makes it kind of a tiny bit more secure because no one is searching for that. And security here is a problem. Think about it. You're giving someone access to a camera in your home. So our web server is secure, but it's not like commercially secure. So we need to kind of keep things as secure as possible. When you're opening your port, don't leave it open forever. So just leave it open for the time that you're having that meeting. Also, don't just give this address to everyone. Just give it to the people that you trust. So these are the advanced settings on my router. Under firewall, we have port forwarding. So we have to create our own device. User-defined device here to give it a name. So we're going to call it VR headset. So it's a TCP protocol. Like I said, you don't have to set it as 443. So I'm going to set it as 3567, but we're going to translate it to 443. So we're going to send it to a HTTPS. Once we've done that, we can then go back to port forwarding and find that one that we just created and set it to our Raspberry Pi device. Looking back at our broadband, so these are all blocked out for obvious reasons, but this is the number followed by :3567 that you can use to access the camera from outside the house. Now we're ready for a meeting. So it's going to be me, Austin, who's in a different house, and my husband, who's just going to go live in the loft for this demo. Okay, so this is my setup for my meeting. I've got my two Raspberry Pis with the pan tilt hats. These are the internal IP addresses for them. So this is 66 and this is 85. 85 has port forwarding. So the network is port forwarding to 85. So this is the one that's accessible externally. So this is going to be my brother-in-law, Austin. And this is going to be my husband, who's just in the same house as me, so he can access on the internal one. Yeah, so you should be able to see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've got some, I'm going to just close my lid so I can just look at you guys. So just look at the one screen. So if you look, you move those arrows. Can you click on the arrows below the monitor, the picture?
Okay.
And that's moving your head down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So if you move your head up. Yeah. And now move it that way. You'll be able to look around, so you'll be able to see Phil.
Hello.
Can you see Phil?
It says you can't go any more left.
Okay.
I can see the cooker. You should be able to see me. I'm a green poster. Oh, well, if that is you.
Yeah. So that's as far left as you can go. So you can look back towards me. So that's 2 people in the meeting, and that's your kind of your range. So what do you think of my project? Is it the future of video conferencing? You'll notice that the VR headset was working a lot better. So I changed the code, I flipped the image, and I realized I was supposed to be sending gamma, not beta. So the up and down did work eventually. I'm just not sure about the VR. Also, port forwarding, it's a bit scary security wise. And eventually Austin's computer just stopped working. So there was too much lag. It eventually just, he couldn't see anymore. Do you have any suggestions of how to fix that? I had so much fun with this project. It was kind of on the edge of creepy, but cool. What do you think? Share your thoughts on the Element 14 community at element14.com/presents. See you next time.